Investing News Network. Joining me today at VRIC is Andy Schectman, president of Miles Franklin. Thank you for joining me today, Andy.
Thanks. Appreciate to be here, Jocelyn. Thanks for having me.
Miles Franklin notes that one reason for buying gold is that it's extremely portable and is liquid just about anywhere in the world. Can you elaborate a bit more on traveling with gold?
Yeah, so I can give you the short answer and I can give you the long answer. The short answer is, in traveling with gold, it's legal tender. But I think for the purposes of this interview, this conversation, I think it is worth about a 3-minute explanation, because people ask me to tell this story just about everywhere I go. A year and a half ago in Montreal, I was coming back into the United States with 240 ounces of gold, 1 ounce Canadian maple leafs, and they weren't mine, they were from a client. Now, I've been advising my clients for the better part of 2 decades that when you travel across the border, it's the legal tender face value amount of the coin, the value that's stamped on the coin that matters.
Right.
So as I get up to customs, knowing that I'm a Homeland Security vetted traveler, I have what's called global entry. It allows me to go through customs very easily.
Okay.
The gentleman asked me what I had, and I said, well, I have 241 ounce gold maple leafs. They're $50 face value coins. I'm declaring $12,000. And he says to me, well, that's beyond my pay grade. I think we're going to need to go to further screening. So he parades me down a long hallway into the bottom of the Montreal airport where I sat. He says, don't touch your bags, sit down, someone will be with you in 20 minutes. So I sat there what seemed like an hour in a room that was about half this size, but it was all mirrors. And you know, they're watching me, waiting for me to shove things down my pants or what have you. And I sat there what seemed like forever. Finally, a Homeland Security supervisor on his shoulder comes out and he asked me what I had. And I told him I had 241 ounce gold maple leafs and I was declaring $12,000. He said to me, okay, I'm inclined to believe you, but how much is gold today?
Yeah.
I said, well, gold is about $1,200. He says, well, isn't that about $300,000, Mr. Schectman? And I said, well, yes, sir, it is. I said, but look at the back of the coin, it's $50. If you were crazy enough, you could take it out into the airport and they would have to accept it as $50.
Wow.
So I said, it's legal tender. He says, you know, I'm really inclined to believe you. I'm going to go and do some further research. In the meantime, you fill out this FENSEN form. And the FENSEN form is something you don't ever want to see. The acronym is something to the extent of Financial Enforcement Network. And anyways, I begrudgingly fill it out. He comes back and he says to me, you know what, you're right. It is legal tender. Let me see your FENSEN form. And I hand it to him. And he says to me, oh, I almost forgot. Do you have any money in your wallet? And I said, yes, I have $37 in my wallet. And he said, do you have any other money you want to tell me about? And I said, no. He says, are you sure? I said, yes. He said, okay, and he tears up the FENSEN form and he says, you're free to go. Now I said, I don't mean to look a gift horse in the mouth, but can you explain to me why I'm free to go? He says, sure. You are entering the United States today with $12,000 Canadian legal tender. We have verified that. Today's conversion rate into the United States puts that at $9,400. Along with the $37 in your wallet and the change in the bottom of your backpack, you are under the $10,000 threshold. You're free to go.
Wow.
The moral of the story is I was able to come across the border with $300,000 worth of gold, attempted to declare it, and was told I didn't have to.
Okay.
So in terms of portability of money, there is no form of money that is as transportable and flexible as gold is.
Wow, that's quite the story. Gold has performed well this year overall. Now that Donald Trump is president, how do you expect it to do in the months ahead?
I think gold and silver will do very, very well right now.
Okay.
I think Trump has ignited the inflation machine. He's talking about a currency that's too expensive.
Right.
I think inflation is on the horizon, but whether it's inflation or whether it's deflation, whether they turn Trump into the next Herbert Hoover, and it's interesting, if you look at the similarities between Trump and Hoover, they were both wealthy businessmen with investments all over the world. They were both outsiders who didn't take office until the day they were sworn in.
Right,
they both, once brought in, talked about isolationism. Hoover is known for building the Hoover Dam. Hoover is known for the Mexican repatriation, sending 500,000 Mexicans back across the border. And, you know, he's also known for igniting the the Great Depression. 7 months after he took office, the Fed raised interest rates. And in the 1920s, they let interest rates go, and the easy money created the stock market bubbles in the 1920s. When they raised interest rates 7 months later, in August of 1929, the market collapsed, and he is known for being the steward of the Great Depression. I hope that doesn't happen to Mr. Trump. But whether it's inflation or deflation, gold will perform well. In fact, it has been proven that gold performs best in a period of massive deflation because it is one of the only objects, as Doug Casey says, as an asset class that is not simultaneously someone else's liability. So whether it's inflation or deflation, gold is a place to be. And over 5,000 years, nothing has preserved wealth better than gold, and especially in times of uncertainty like we see right now.
That makes perfect sense. That's actually leading to my next question. So during times of economic uncertainty, what is the most important thing for investors to keep in mind?
Well, for my money, the most important thing to keep in mind is that a return of your money trumps a return on your money, and there's no pun intended there. I think return of your money is very important. And again, gold and silver have been, for 5,000 plus years, a store of value, perhaps better than any other currency ever. Well, for sure, perhaps much better than any other currency ever. And so in terms of lasting purchasing power and preserving wealth, I think gold and silver is the place to be, especially in times of great uncertainty. Absolutely.
Perfect. Makes perfect sense. It's expected that the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates 3 times in 2017. As investors tend to get nervous when interest rates are raised, what should they consider when factoring in the gold price?
Well, first of all, I don't think interest rates will get raised, no matter what they're saying. I think if you raise interest rates, you throw a nuclear bomb on the economy.
Right.
When you look at what's happening in the economy right now, especially to the middle class economy, you see stores like Macy's, JCPenney, Kohl's, The Gap, they're all reporting record losses. Macy's is laying off 10,000 people and closing a whole bunch of stores, including their Bellwether store where I live in Minneapolis, in downtown Minneapolis. Unemployment is not what they say it is. There are many disenfranchised workers. The unemployment rate is much higher than they claim it to be. The economy is much worse than they claim it to be. And if they raise interest rates, and I think they know this, they are going to set off a bomb on the economy. I would bet, contrary to popular belief, that they don't raise interest rates. And if they do, it's a token 0.25%. You have to remember, as it pertains to gold, go back to the 1979, we're the largest creditor in the world, not the largest debtor that we are now. So when interest rates by Paul Volcker were raised to 18% in 1979 to stop the inflation and kill the gold run, they could do that. You can't do that now. Every 1% increase in interest rates with a $20 billion trillion, is $200 billion in interest payments that they have to pay. You can't raise interest rates. And if they do, it'll be nothing more than a token mirage. But anything substantial, I don't think we will witness the greatest depression of all time if they substantially try to raise interest rates. Anything more than a token trying to save face.
Okay. One last question. Are there any gold stocks that you're currently watching out for this year?
I like anything that Keith Neumeyer is behind.
Okay.
I like Silver One. I like First Majestic. I don't watch any really closely. I watch from afar, but I will tell you that anything Keith Neumeyer is behind, I'm on board with.
Great. Those are all my questions today.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining me today, Andy.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
Appreciate being here.
Once again, I'm Jocelyn Aspa with the Investing News Network.